Hey everybody, and welcome to Let's Look at Giana Sisters Twisted Dreams. Now that I looked at the title screen a little bit more intently, I can't help but see this double D in the center. Aw, yeah. Those are the kind of Giana Sisters I can get down with. If you're not familiar with the Giana Sisters franchise, you are not alone. I've only been tangentially aware of it, but I've been aware of it for a fairly long time because it was kind of a notorious Super Mario Brothers ripoff way back in like the mid-1980s. Anyway, we're just gonna play this. This is a reboot. I believe this is actually funded through Kickstarter, which boggles my mind because I didn't think that there was, that much adoration or, long-held reverence for Giana Sisters as a game because it was pretty bad, if I remember correctly, when it came out. But yeah, this is a brand new 3D, well, 2.5D style platformer that you will be able to see as we get started here. And it's not really a puzzle platformer. It's not really like an action platformer. It's kind of just a platformer. So we are playing as the Giana Sisters, and the gimmick of this game is kind of the gimmick of every like kid's breakfast cereal, cartoon, I don't know, various mascots for corporations. Basically, we've got two sisters. We got this blonde one, and again, apologies for not knowing the names. Maybe they're both just called Giana. Wouldn't it be sweet if it was Giada Sisters, and then it was like Giada De Laurentiis, and she cooked you a sweet bechamel or something? Anyway, so we got this blonde one. She's the nice Giana sister. She has this move where she can do like that whirligig up at the top, which allows her to glide down rather than falling at full speed. And we also have the mean Giana Sister. And notice that the level and music will change as we switch from Giana Sister to Giana Sister. So this one has the capability of becoming like a mean-ass fireball that can take out enemies. So we got this like one sweet but one sour kind of thing going on. It's a pretty superficial gimmick. But other than that, the game is at least relatively inoffensive. Except for the fact that, I like the idea that the enemies change every single time you switch from your Giana Sisters. However, I do not like so much that the music changes, because honestly, and this might be a little bit superficial, but I feel like the music for this Giana Sister, the purple-haired one, is garbage. It sounds like really cheap MIDI. And I know I'm gonna offend some people here, but it reminds me of like those 3D Sonic games where you get like Sonic Boom and stuff like that, and you're like, I think that game is actually, or that song is actually pretty bad. Although I think a lot of people actually have some reverence for Sonic Boom for whatever reason. I can't say I've never enjoyed it. When I was playing Super Smash Bros. Brawl, I always used it to make my shitty custom levels because I thought it was hilarious. Anyway, so as for our abilities, we have only the three that I've mentioned before, as well as jumping. Now, the cool thing is, I'm using the Xbox 360 controller to play this on the PC. I'm not sure if it's available for any other platform. But basically, the control scheme actually handles it quite well. So we can just use right trigger to switch back and forth between our sisters. But we can also do things differently by just hitting the face button. So X is going to be our fireball and Y is going to be our whirlybird. However, you don't have to switch sisters before using these abilities. So if I want to go from whirlybird right into fireball, I'm able to do that just by using the X button, which is awesome. And vice versa, of course. Now, there are some puzzles that happen throughout the game here. And the puzzles largely revolve around either switches activating or switching, as you might expect. Oh, I botched it a little bit. Yeah, switches, like changing direction. How do I get down here? I think I want to do this. Based on which sister you have. So sometimes there will be things like, might as well show you that you can kill enemies. There you go. Sometimes there will be switches that are only active. This is bad. Or as you can see, there are gems that are only active if you're playing as one of the two Giana Sisters. Blue gems are accessible by everybody, but yellow gems and red gems are only accessible by the yellow and red, or good and evil Giana Sister respectively. I don't know if it's actually good and evil, or if it's more like sweet and sour, like, oh, she's got a brash edge, she's super cute and sweet, like maybe the difference between Bubbles and that other Powerpuff girl that I've forgotten the name of now. And this is the other kind of pseudo puzzles that you get going on, is as you switch from Giana Sister to Giana Sister, sometimes the architecture of the level will change very, very slightly to allow you through. It's the bare minimum beyond superficial differences. Like, it does change the level, but it feels so arbitrary a lot of the time. We do get some interesting kind of puzzles like this. Not puzzles, but I guess platforming segments. This is not, VVV level of difficulty, but it is at least something to break up the monotony, because so far with this game, I played about an hour so far, maybe a little bit less than an hour, and I have found this game, principle, like cardinal sin, goddamn boring. I don't know, I wish there was just more to do, or like more excitement, because right now, and I tweeted about this, but I basically tweeted that this game to me feels like, platformers the video game. It's like, we got everything you love about platformers, jumping, collecting gems. Why? Fuck you, that's why. Like, there's no I mentioned this in the PID video, but in PID, you collect that stuff, the stars, and then you can use it to buy oh, that was stupid of me. You use it to buy things, and even though the buying component was somewhat superficial, I kind of appreciated that there was at least a reason that I was doing the kind of 52 card pickup. Giana Sisters does not have that kind of gimmick. The only reason you're collecting gems is to get more stars at the end, which, for me, is not really that much of a motivating factor. So whenever when I first started playing, I was getting like all the gems. So I was thinking maybe this will tie into some kind of RPG element system where I'll be able to upgrade my stats and get a higher jump or something. Or, maybe, I don't know, I'll be able to use it to buy even something superficial like gallery artwork, which we unlock just by finding random power-ups in the world here. No such luck, though. Get up there! I'm gonna have to wait for the water to come back up. So yeah, I don't know. I find a lot of Giana Sisters Twisted Dreams to be pretty arbitrary. I should mention... Oh, that was bad. I should mention this is available on Steam right now. I believe it was green-lighted on Steam, actually. And again, I don't know how these games... And I don't mean these games as in this is a garbage game or anything, but I don't know how the Giana Sisters game managed to get enough backing behind it to... oh, that was close. To kickstart itself. I guess that's pretty admirable, but also kind of crazy to me. Again, I had no idea Giana Sisters had any following at all. I kind of thought it was, not reviled, but renowned in the industry as a kind of a joke, but I guess I was a little bit mistaken. The other thing I want to point out is that this game, and I mentioned this a little bit in the PID video as well, what can I say? I've been playing a lot of puzzle platformers lately. But the game this reminds me most of, that was not good, is actually Trine. This game has a lot of Trine-y type elements to it. The problem is, it does pretty much everything worse than Trine. It looks worse than Trine. I mean, I've got the graphic settings turned slightly down here. The game doesn't look as bad as it looks right now, for most of you anyway, when you're going to be playing it. However, oh, that was close. The puzzles are not nearly as satisfying as the puzzles in Trine. There's no co-op element. This is, as far as I know anyway, single player only. I haven't encountered any options to, ask a friend to join me or anything like that. And beyond that, like, again, the fact of the arbitrary currency system. In Trine, you collect those gems or the vials or, whatever they were. And as a result, you ended up being able to buy... This is a tough part, actually. You ended up being able to buy upgrades that actually had a meaningful impact. It didn't imbalance the game, like it didn't make the puzzles, for the most part anyway, sometimes it did, but for the most part it didn't make the puzzles too easy to complete. However, in a game like this, we're just kind of, platforming for platformer's sake, and that doesn't really appeal to me all that much. This is a game that, it's easy to, it's hard to not, like, get mad at, because it's not an awful game. But it's very easy not to recommend, because there's so much more in this space, I've made this joke in a lot of Let's Look Ats, but I've been playing platformers for, like, probably 15% of my total game time this year. If you include Spelunky, it's probably more than that, but has been spent playing platformers, and this platformer is... Oh, that's gonna be... Yeah. This platformer is simply not good enough to compete with a lot of those other ones. For example, I'm not sure about the... that was stupid as hell. I'm not sure about the timing yet, but I'm assuming this video is gonna go up after the PID video I recorded. If you watch the PID video, fucking go buy a PID. Don't buy Giana Sisters Twisted Dreams. I believe... Oh, you walked into... Again, this is another thing that bothers me with platformers now since playing Spelunky. You walk into the spikes, you die. What sense does that make? There we go. Yes, but buy PID instead. I mean, PID is not the greatest platformer that's ever been made. But it has a lot more interesting ideas, and it's a lot more fun, and it has co-op, even if it is local only. This is just a mechanic where basically when we switch, that big spike comes out. Kind of, again, a lot of the mechanics, super arbitrary to me. Why does the spike come out? Who knows? This is the last level of the first world, so Giana Sisters is split up into, your standard kind of platformer tropes of, world level. That's okay. I got no problem with that. I love platformers. Admittedly, platformers are probably my favorite genre of video games. I grew up with them. I have a lot of fun with them. This is just an exception to the rule, I feel. And I have not really had all that much fun with Giana Sisters. Also, I think if you have any kind of aptitude for platformers... Oh, that was stupid as hell. Now we have to do the whole thing over from the start. Sometimes, checkpoint system is very unforgiving. Now this betrays... What just happened betrays what I was about to say. But I think if you have any aptitude for platformers, at least in the first hour and a half of Giana Sisters I played here, you are gonna find things are pretty goddamn easy. I mean, it's not like Mario. There's no punishment for death, really. You don't have a lives counter or anything like that. So you can pretty much just replay as much as you want. There's been very few times when I've come across sections that were so difficult I had to restart more than once. If this is a situation where I have, that's not because the game is difficult, it's just because there's kind of inconsistent momentum, I feel, with these characters, so I just keep running into spikes by accident. Of course, running into spikes that are, like, I slide around so much here. The controls are okay. I mentioned them as kind of a strong point earlier. I don't necessarily wish to take this back, but, you know, I do wish to say that maybe... Oh, that was terrible as well. Here we go. Northernlion Sucks at Video Games, take 371. But yeah, I do wish to say, it's one of those things where you worry about falling into a bias. Because whenever I play a platformer and it doesn't control that well, I just think like, well, this doesn't control as well as Mario. Well, maybe the fact is, I just played so much Mario as a kid, that if when a game doesn't control like Mario, I assume it controls badly. However, Giana Sisters controls adequately, I would say, but there are times when, you know, the characters feel a little bit weighty, and that's a little bit unsatisfying, shall we say. So we're gonna come down here, land on this. We finally reached another checkpoint. Now we gotta dodge all these guys. Again, if you've ever played a platformer before, you've probably seen some mechanic like this. I'm thinking like those puffer fish or blowfish from Super Mario, maybe. Or Donkey Kong Country as well has several situations like this. What we could do is just basically tell these guys to fuck off and just float down here. It's the other thing I find is that the Giana Sisters' powers makes it very easy to accomplish things sometimes. Whereas in like a more traditional platformer, it might be substantially more difficult. God damn it. Should point out, I mentioned like the ease of the game or the difficulty of the game, depending on your perspective. This is certainly the hardest level in the first world by an order of magnitude. Like, it is, you can do it. It has the standard kind of platformer, or even really any game mechanic where the first level is so easy that I didn't die at all. That was silly. I'm not sure what I was trying to do there. Yeah, the first level is so easy that I didn't die at all. But then beyond that, it does start to get a little bit more tricky. I'm honestly not sure what I'm supposed to be... Oh, you can drop down through the bottom? Okay. So we're going to try to make our way through here. So there is some kind of cool stuff, but I mean, we've seen this in 50,000 other platformers before throughout the history of mankind. We can make it through here, I feel. And I believe we're actually coming up to the boss fight now. And this is where I'll end the video, but I'm going to go through the boss fight first. One of the strengths of the game, and I feel like one of the strengths of a lot of platformers is if the platformer's done right anyway, is the boss battles. So these are standard, you know, kind of boss battles that you might have seen in the PlayStation 1, Nintendo 64, or even Super Nintendo era game. What we have to do is basically just learn the pattern of the boss, which I've already done. It almost is the kind of game, or kind of boss fight you would see in Meat Boy as well. So I gotta try to stab this fucking worm snake here. It's Ouroboros, so I guess snake is correct. With that thing. And if I stab it 3 times, we will win. I also just got almost killed, but that's okay. And the way that this works, basically, like most platforming bosses, it has like 3 phases. So it's got that phase where it just kind of like slinkies towards you, and then it has this phase right here. It had the phase where oh, I'm dead. It had the phase where it kind of spun towards you as well. This boss fight is actually kind of difficult, but not as difficult as it might seem right now based on my own ineptitude. So let's wait for this guy to come down. Kind of a hassle to make sure you're hitting it, because you're not using like any kind of guaranteed hitting system or anything like that. But if we just... Oh, I didn't get hit there somehow. This is the hard part though. We've only got to get through 2 phases of this guy dropping rocks. So as long as we don't get hit during one of them, we should be okay, provided we dodge everything else. Again, I have a soft spot for these kind of platforming boss fights. It's not reinventing the wheel or anything like that, but it is an enjoyable spell of entertainment in what is otherwise a pretty mundane and boring game, I feel. I don't mean to sound overly negative as I hit it for the second time there. With my opinions about Giana Sisters Twisted Dreams, it's only $10. I did get hit there, that's not good. It's only $10, so it's pretty cheap in the whole scheme of things. And you could probably get that kind of enjoyment out of it, but for me it's like, this is one of the least remarkable platform games of the year. Come on, be strong here. Like, if you want to play a middling platform game that looks kind of cool, don't play Giana Sisters, play Scary Girl. That's a game that's, you know, it was kind of critically hated for whatever reason. That was not good. Oh, I got killed, fuck! Alright, well, we'll try it again, and then we'll end it here. Yeah, Scary Girl was critically hated, which I don't necessarily agree with. I didn't think it was an amazing game, but I didn't think it was a bad game by any stretch of the imagination. However, I do think Giana Sisters is kind of mediocre, and it doesn't really do anything interesting. It feels like a worse version of Trine. Feels like a worse version of a lot of platformers, to be honest with you. I got hit again. God damn, I suck at dodging that. So yeah, even though I love platformers, and I've been having, you know, a half-decent time with Giana Sisters Twisted Dreams, I can't really recommend this for purchase. There's just so many other better platformers out there, puzzle variety, action variety, or otherwise, that there's pretty much no easy way to recommend this over any of the other ones, sadly. Well, sadly for them, anyway. And I did manage to get hit again. We have to give this one more try because apparently I am the worst platformer player in history. Like I said, this boss is a little bit harder than he looks. Certainly we're not on the level of, you know, a Dark Souls boss or anything like that. But it's this part right here. And I still got hit because I tried to dodge over it to the right. Maybe we should use the other Giana Sister and just try to, like, blow ourselves straight up. Blow ourselves straight up. The Northernlion story, a guide to autofellatio in the hood. So we almost got hit there, but we did manage to survive. Now we only need to hit it, like I said, 3 times. So the second time gives us the last pattern that we have to deal with. I already botched that one a little bit, but I think we can get it on this one. Maybe not. Oh, yes we did. Okay. So we got the wheel again. This is an important part. Okay, we did manage to survive that. That was smart. Now all we have to do is not get hit during this rock phase, and we should be able to coast to an easy victory here against Ouroboros. This is by far the hardest part of the game, by the way. So far, at least. And probably the hardest part of the game that I'll ever see, because I don't anticipate myself going back and playing too much Giana Sisters after this. Considering I could just, you know, finish PID and probably have a more enjoyable time of things. That didn't hit it, which is disappointing, because that would have killed it. That is going to kill it. Okay, so we'll pick up all these sweet gems. You know, there's a little bit of pattern recognition. You get over it pretty quickly. But, yeah, all in all, that is Giana Sisters Twisted Dreams. At the end of every level, you get this kind of indicator of how well you did. 16 deaths is only going to be good enough for 2 stars. If I died less, obviously we get more stars. I'm not sure what the stars eventually feed into. And there's not really much story that goes on between all these missions. So each level probably represents, you know, 15 minutes of gameplay. I don't know how far we get. We get to level 3. World... I guess there's only 3 worlds, or they just don't appear until later. So that's actually pretty short. You know, you're looking at a 4 or 5 hour game, which I guess is kind of standard for platformers, but still. In any case, there are other modes. Score attack, time attack. I'm like super uninterested. No checkpoints seems hard as hell. You die, you restart from level 1. That seems fucking impossible, basically. And needless, like this does not represent variety in gameplay. What this represents is just like, hey, how can we add more game modes to our game without actually doing any more work? Well, why don't we remove all checkpoints? Done. You get a raise. How about you restart from level 1 when you die? That's dickish. People love dickish things these days. Old school, right? No. Not old school. That's stupid as hell. There's also a gallery. Credits strikes me as something that probably should not get its own thing in the menu here. And extras as well. I don't know what's in extras. Halloween special. I'm not going to watch that. But in any case, as always, thank you guys for watching. Thumbs down to Giana Sisters Twisted Dreams. I think J Smith OTI actually likes this game. So if you want to go see a dissenting opinion on that, go check out, or on this, go check out his video. Just know that I disagree with him and I think he's a big poo-poo head. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.